Non, je sais pas pourquoi il n'y a pas de micro.
Dear friends, it's a great honor to be with all of you here today to introduce the Lookout Station initiative, a joint project between the Global Editors Network and the European Forest Institute. The Lookout Station aims at creating, through digital storytelling, an urgently needed space for science and media to come together to put light into some of the most important global environmental challenges that we are facing. Because for 200 years, we have relied on a fossil-based economy. And science shows that we have arrived to a tipping point, because the world has become too big for our planet. So if we want a sustainable future for future generations, we need a new economic paradigm.
That's kind of my corner.
A paradigm where prosperity takes place within the renewable boundaries of our planet, because we have only one planet. An economic paradigm where renewable energy and renewable biological resources become the prosperity engine for sustainable development. And the good news is that with science and technology, with emerging science and technology, we can not only produce affordable renewable energy, but we can also transform biological resources into a new range of innovative bio-based solutions that can replace fossil products from industrial sectors like textile, construction, plastics, or transport. We can now produce bioplastics and textiles made of wood fibers. We can build skyscrapers entirely made of massive timber. In fact, wood is the only significant construction material that is renewable and can be grown sustainably. But it is also true that science and technology are not enough to trigger the changes that we need for a new economic paradigm. We need transformative policies, political action, and we need an active participation of citizens. This is why it is also more important than ever to build an effective and fluent science-media dialogue, to create science-informed narratives as inspirations for transformational change, as visions for a sustainable future. And I would like to finish my intervention with a quote by Albert Einstein, who said that we cannot solve our problems with the same thinking we had when we created them. And we believe that the Lookout Station can help in creating the new thinking needed for change. I would like also to thank the 12 journalists, the 12 apostles that have made this initiative possible, and of course their leader, Rina, for her messianic work. So congratulations for the job. So thank you very much for your attention and enjoy the session.
Great. Could you put the slides up if you can, yeah? All right, thank you so much for joining our session. What if journalists could experiment with new ideas to tell climate change stories, just like how scientists test their ideas in their lab? Experiments are key to innovation and discovery, but I worked in the journalism organization in the past at the European Journalism Center, and I really feel that in today's journalism, there is not much space to really test new ideas, to have first-hand experience, to see what works and what doesn't. And on top of that, climate change as a topic also poses a lot of new challenges because of the complexity and uncertainty. Journalists need to be really creative in telling stories about climate change, finding new narratives, new formats, and channels to engage with the audiences in a meaningful way. So together with the Jen, we decided to combine these two things, climate change reporting on the one hand, because it's really challenging, right? And testing new formats like 360 video on the other, to develop Lookout 360, which is what you see here. 6-month climate change immersive story accelerator to offer the opportunities for 12 journalists from 12 media houses to give a true sense of experimentation with 360 video and climate change storytelling. So we selected 12 journalists from 12 media houses out of 200 applications, 280 applications we got in 1 month. And you actually see how great the diversity of the journalists that we have. Actually, they're all here, so you have an opportunity to meet with us after this session. What we wanted to do is that in February, we got together in Finland where the journalists got hands-on training by Carole, who is a trainer, together with John Aves, who's also here, on 360 video production using Insta360 which seems to be one of the good camera out there. And we filmed in minus 25 degrees. We went in the field, we talked to the Sami people, one and the only indigenous communities in Europe. So then everyone went back in their own newsroom with the tool and knowledge to produce 360 video, to test the idea on the specific topic of climate change. We provided mentorship support with industry leaders like Thomas Seymat, who's joining us today as representing mentors from Euronews, and also leading researchers to share inspirations, tips, and ideas. And I'm really happy to show exactly what we came out, what the story came out. This is the overview of the story that came out from this Accelerator program. Only a few months' time, the people who didn't have the skill set to actually produce a 360 video, they started from almost zero, and then they actually could develop this in such a short period of time. So we're happy to introduce 2 projects that was selected by the international jury. And Sonia, I would like to give the floor to introduce what topic that you covered, how you selected the topic, and also as well as your experience in this producing the story in such a short period of time.
Well, thank you. Thank you, Rina. And boa tarde is my first attempt at speaking Portuguese. Good afternoon, everyone. My name is Sonia Narang, and I was one of the 12 journalists selected for this project, the pilot project. It was, for me, a really exciting opportunity to produce my first 360 video. I had never attempted 360 before in my life, so I'm an example of someone who can go from 0 to hopefully 100 in just a few months. My project was about climate change in the Navajo Nation. The Navajo Nation is an indigenous tribe in the United States where I'm from. And this Native American group lives in one of the most arid climates. That's a very dry climate. They've been experiencing drought and heat waves now, which has really shrunk their water supply. They literally have just a few centimeters of rain per year. The streams have dried up. And my goal was to tell this story in 360. So I found a family in a Navajo community in northeastern Arizona. So that's sort of the southwest of the United States. And I spent about a day actually documenting their life. They're sheep herders and weavers, and talk to them about how climate change is really diminishing their cultural heritage of raising sheep, using that wool to weave Navajo rugs and traditional handicrafts. So it was a very sort of touching story about how climate change is impacting people on the ground. And it was quite the challenge to be able to do this for the first time. And I was working alone, so I was a one-person team. We all had different experiences. But I found that, with the training that we got through Lookout 360, I was able to really put together a video that showcased their life. And I think we're going to see a little clip of this video.
If we can play the video, that'd be great.
A lot to me. I wanted to live that life, living off the land. The drought.
Great, thank you. I think I will make sure that you get a link to overview of all the projects. It's hard to see on the screen, of course, in the podium. But I want to give the floor to Flavia, who also worked on another story focusing on the rivers in Brazil. And it'd be really good to get to know how you selected topic, first of all, what it is about, and how you selected topic, and also your own experience in producing the food piece.
Okay, thank you, Rina. Boa tarde, Lisboa. My name is Flávia Martins. I'm with the Portal R7 from Brazil. During Lookout360, my team and I decided to tell the story about this severe drought that one of Brazil's main rivers is facing the last 7 years. The São Francisco River runs through over 500 cities across 6 states. So we went to this small town called Pirapora, which, like many cities, is facing the consequences of this drought, like lack of fish, water, and serious economic issues. So during our experience on the field, we tried to follow the steps that we learned through our sessions with our mentors and trainers. And we chose to do a character-driven story. We had many challenges. For example, how to pick a right angle to shoot a scene. How to place a camera inside a boat with 2 fishermen in the middle of the river without being there. So, and overall, try to let them speak their minds without interviewing them. Being there to interview them was quite a challenge. But hopefully, overall, we are somehow proud we have accomplished with this new format for the first time. So, thank you.
And if we can play the video, that'd be great.
Era mais fácil, o rio tinha água, né? Aí isso é muito triste, né? Hoje está feio, raso, assoreado e não tem fartura.
Okay. All right. So we didn't want to leave out, basically all the learnings that we got from Accelerator to ourselves. We wanted to share the knowledge and experience and learnings that we gathered from this experience. And that's one of the reasons why we are launching a mini guide, which I will announce it later today. But Carole, who has been the trainer for this program, she has been talking to all the participants who joined the program, as well as editors and newsroom managers who participate in the Accelerator, but also people from Washington Post, Euronews, Al Jazeera, and then so many others to get to know where things are with the immersive storytelling formats and so on. But I want to ask you, Carole, what do you think this Accelerator sort of resulted at the both participants level and also newsroom level, given that it was such a short period of time? Is this something that was meaningful in your opinion?
Sure. One of the greatest aspects of this Accelerator program was the fact that it included a continuous 12-week mentorship program right after the 2-day training that we had on the ground. Too often when after learning a new skill set, journalists go back to their newsroom, they get caught up in their daily workflows, and they don't get the opportunity to apply those newfound skills. So this often leads them to forget about the training and makes it even more challenging to afterwards share and spread the best practices with their newsroom. So after the 2-day training that we conducted in Lapland, Finland, covering everything from storyboarding to post-production, including filming in the field, we and other mentors held weekly Google Hangouts with the participants to help them and guide them throughout the development of their story. This provided them with feedback on the type of story that they decided to do, the type of shots they wanted to take, anticipate the post-production time, and really think about the story visually, as most of them were not video journalists. They were able to gather the necessary resources from their newsrooms and the team that they needed to produce the story. I think it served as a catalyst for their newsrooms to become more involved and actually want to develop 360 videos. Something that I really appreciate about this program is seeing journalists and their newsrooms who had little to no experience producing immersive videos now being able to produce immersive journalism.
Yeah, that's great. Also, I really feel like commitment level from the participants, like you guys were really committed. I saw like daily WhatsApp messages, communicating with each other, asking for tips and so on, as well as also the commitment level from the editors. Like I really feel that that was kind of the sort of the element that was a key. Thomas, you have been running this immersive operation at Euronews for a long time. You have been also, I think it was DNI project that you worked on, focusing on the climate change storytelling news 360 videos. What makes immersive formats a powerful medium in the context of climate change storytelling, in your opinion?
Yeah. So at Euronews, since June 2016, and with the support of the DNI fund, we've set up an immersive journalism workflow, and we published over 145 360 videos and a couple of VR experience. And so we covered sports, politics, culture, hard news, and climate change has emerged as a topic that really fits with almost the nature of this new medium. First of all, it's really easy to transport your audience into a faraway place that's being affected, and that can be far away like the Amazon River, but it can also be far away within Europe. We've covered stories from Norway, Spain, Netherlands, and to the scale of our continent, those places are pretty far away and they're already affected. So it's also interesting to bring that to our audience. Then there's this idea of, with this teleportation of our users, of feeling there, of presence. And linked to this idea of presence is this idea of at least, if not empathy with the situation, at least sympathy or making you think, which I think can help go beyond kind of like a climate change reporting fatigue that some user can have after like so many reports, so many figures. Every year is harder than the previous one. Well, there you go. This is a video taking you to a place that's affected. You can hear the people being affected. You can listen to the experts. 360 video is also a great way to be innovative in terms of presenting graphs and visualization of these effects. And I think that's also reflective in what we've did with your team, Rina, with the EFI. We've covered the aftermath of last year's summer fire season in Portugal, which for those who are not Portuguese and might not know, was the deadliest in recorded history, with over 100 people killed. You can see some of the pictures on the screen. And this is one of the most ambitious projects we've done, but in not even 10 minutes, you get to hear from the victims, you get to hear from the people who are on the ground fighting the fires, you listen to the experts and to the community, and on top of the video and the graphics, something that adds up, I think, another layer of immersion and another layer of storytelling is spatialized audio, which is another immersive technology, which is a little harder to master than 360 video, but it really multiplies the feeling of immersion, and it makes 360 video a very powerful tool to report on climate change issues.
Yeah, and then actually, when you look at the video, especially the published one on Facebook page, you see a lot of comments from the local people, and almost like a debate is happening, right? And I think that provides another dimension to the story, which I thought was a really great piece that you worked on, especially for this one. Sonia and Flavia, so this was a really short period of time. You only have like almost like 3 months, right, to actually produce and work on this piece. But I want to get to know what sort of potential you saw with connecting 360 video and climate change reporting.
Well, I saw a lot of potential because 360 video really allows the viewer to see the full scope of what's going on. You know, I was somewhat skeptical about, well, how is 360 going to be different than just a regular video that, you know, I had produced before. But after doing this, I realized that it gives viewers the ability to really step into the life, step into the shoes of the main characters. In this case, you know, this elderly Native American woman who is struggling to continue her heritage. So I thought that was a huge benefit of having 360, that it gives viewers that point of view perspective of their life.
I just want to add that I think that 360 footage has the, sometimes reveals that invisible moments that we have in daily life, that sometimes flat camera, it's not important moments. So that invisible moment sometimes helps you to connect with the character, so you feel more empathy with the story. And climate change being a subject of a little bit of a, you know, something very difficult to understand, very labeled like this. I think it's 360 footage allows you to empathize more. So.
And also kind of like building upon that sort of impacts you. So, because I know that, you know, I mean, your story has been out for a few weeks. Your story was out only last week. So I think it's really hard to kind of already talk about the impacts. But what kind of impacts did you see in terms of like within the newsroom, within your colleagues, as well as also if you can share about audience, at the audience levels?
Sure. So this was one of the first 360 videos on PRI's website, and you know, it's a radio program, right? So convincing radio journalists to take on video is a huge deal, and then, you know, to move to the next step of 360. But, you know, I think that they're embracing it probably slower than, say, a video or television news outlet might. But it really is a key visual way for this radio outlet to showcase what's happening around the world, you know, from what's happening in the US to, you know, Finland. And I think that they're slowly embracing the fact that people are coming to their website to view high quality content.
Yeah, we have some, the TV crew was very interested in participating in the next pieces. And when they saw the piece on the headset, they were very excited to pitch in with some ideas. And yeah, our newsroom are going out and trying to experiment with new ideas as well. So we are very excited to do the next ones.
Great. So again, we're not advocating 360 video here. We just wanted to make sure to experience and actually have a full experience before we make a judgment on the face value, because I think that happens a lot, especially in the innovation field. But I kind of want to ask this sort of devil's advocate question. Do you really think there's a future with 360 video or immersive formats?
I'm a firm believer that experiencing stories in 360 degrees is here to stay. I think we've seen the impact of 360 stories. They're more memorable, they're more impactful, they're more engaging. I do not think it will replace 2D or linear video. I think there's space for both. I think we'll see as the headsets get better and smaller, we'll see a surge in interactive, immersive stories where users will be able to actively participate in the story. It'll capture their attention, and they'll remember this experience as if they lived it rather than consumed it.
Looking back, yes, thank you. Looking back, if you think about the future, if you look back only a couple of years ago, how far we've come in terms of how easy it is now to get into it, with a community that's really supportive of new talents and new voices wanting to try it out. The gear is getting cheaper and better. The software is getting cheaper and better. The distribution channels are what they are, not perfect, but it's also easy to publish on Facebook and YouTube. So I think what we are right now is maybe the first generation, the first iteration of immersive journalism. And looking back 5 years, nobody would have known that it's gotten so big today. And it's hard to imagine what it can be in 5 years, mixing also with augmented reality. We've seen the panel before discuss this in detail. So yes, I think I'll agree with Carole. I'm a firm believer as well.
All right, I think we are kind of running out of time, but as I mentioned, we don't want to keep our learnings to ourselves only. We want to share with you what we have learned from this 6-month period. And that's why we came up with this really last-minute pocket field guide, kind of, reflecting all the learnings, all the experiences, and all the insights from the industry. I want to just give a floor to Carole to announce, because she's an author.
Yes, we're very happy to announce the release of the Pocket Field Guide, co-published by the European Forest Institute and the Global Editors Network. We've gathered responses from over 25 people, including all 12 of the participants from Lookout360 Accelerator, their editors from other newsrooms, such as the Washington Post and Euronews, as well as VR experts. The Pocket Field Guide includes practical tips, resources, testimonials, and it also includes editors' outlook on the evolution of immersive journalism in the next 1 to 3 years. It is available for download and free today at the link displayed above. We hope that will provide insightful and useful information to all editors and newsroom managers who are looking to implement 360 video into their newsrooms. Thank you.
Great, yeah. So we're going to make sure to share that link with you. It's free again. It's really good, actually. I'm really surprised how you pull this together in such a short period of time. It was 2 weeks. But it has really hands-on tips. If you want to get started with one person working on this piece, what do you need? So it's really, really practical. I recommend you to take a look. And on that note, we have another session after this, and I want to make sure that everyone else, because we have all the journalists who participated in the 360, Lookout 360 is here. Do you want to stand up so we know where you are? I see Ugochi there. Come on, yeah, Steph. Cool, yeah, I want to give you a huge round of applause because you did amazing work. And if you want to see us, there is a session at the Gen Dome right after this session. So come over, it's going to be casual. If you want to ask questions, feel free to join us. Thank you.
Thank you so much.